All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of our Madden 25 Connected Franchise Owner Mode Fantasy Draft Buffalo Bills Ralph Wilson YouTube series. Today, it is our bye week. It is Thursday. It is episode number 69, and we are going to enjoy the spoils of our bye week. We do not have a league game today. We practiced last week. We're going to go right into scouting last week. Not last week. I guess last week in the game. I sometimes confuse saying that. Last episode, we talked about our draft strategy for this upcoming draft. We have taken a look at the top dog, Macon Benedict, in the center category. We were less impressed with Carter Feniak. We're also going to take a look at Will Erie. We're not going to take a look at his overall rating because that would be too much, but we'll take a look at everything else that matters. Agility, acceleration, C's, they're pretty typical for a center. Awareness is not very good. Awareness to me is really important in a center. And yeah, that pass blocking is unusable. Yeah, that's all I need to see. Wayne Erie is not going to be our next center. To me, here's the thing. Awareness is really important for a center because a center is the person who decides on the offensive line who's going to block who, what's going to happen, and what's going to go down. Now, Macon Benedict, we can get his awareness up all day long because we don't have to worry about his impact blocking, his run blocking, or his pass blocking, or his strength, or any of those things for the next long, long while. His confidence trait is even pretty good. Consistency trait, how much does consistency trait cost to unlock? Consistency, he has 1,000, not worth it, so we're not going to check that out. But but we can do that. We can go ahead and up his awareness a ton to start off. But with a guy like this, Carter Feniak, or a guy like Wayne Erie, the awareness is a C. It's the same. But we need to invest points right off the bat in upgrading their pass blocking ability, impact blocking ability, that kind of thing. It's just not worth it. So I think we're barring something crazy, we're going to be looking for Macon Benedict when it comes to our first round pick. Whether or not he'll be available at that spot, we don't know. But we'll have to make a trade accordingly if he's not, depending on wherever we find ourselves in the draft at that point. Barring that, let's go ahead and start taking a look at these defensive tackles. Now, really the first defensive tackle on this list who fits our framework is Chaz Deitch. We're just going to go with Deitch. It's probably wrong. Chaz Deitch. Chaz Deitch doesn't sound like a name at all, but Chaz Deitch is going to be the person we're scouting first. He's 6'1", 339. That's almost the exact same framework as Vince Wilfork. We're going to take a look at him today. His speed is a C. It's not bad, actually, for somebody his size. Acceleration is important. And agility is important. C and a B, workable. Strength is a B. Like to see something better there. Ooh, power moves and finesse moves just a C. Don't like that. Block shedding is a C. Tackling is a B, which is pretty nice. Awareness is a D. Hit power is a C. That's not good enough. Play recognition is a C. Pursuit. Injuries, only a B. We don't want that. Stamina is a B. That's nice. Personality, F. Toughness, B. Confidence is a 2. That's pretty good. But the bottom line, I think, high motor, no. I'm not loving this guy. I don't think he would be an absolutely terrible selection for the 4th round, but he's not rocking my socks. We'll just say that. We'll come back next episode and check out Shane Houston. Now, for this upcoming draft, we have a 1st-round pick, a 2nd-round pick, and 2 3rd-round picks. If we really like one of these defensive tackles who's not slated to go to the end of the 4th round, beginning of the 5th round, I'm not opposed to using one of these 3rd-round picks on them. But if we're using our first pick on the center, Macon Benedict, we're using one of our later 3rd-round pick on one of these defensive tackles. That means we have 2 more picks to use. I don't think there's any reason to pick a quarterback in those areas yet. With Aaron Rodgers still only being 30 years old, still having 2 quality backups in the organization. I don't see a reason to go for running backs because we have so many great running backs right now on this team who are playing well. Fullbacks, maybe, but fullbacks I'd rather find one in free agency just because fullbacks go so painfully low in the draft. I think it would be kind of an exercise in futility to try and find one here. I wouldn't mind trying to find a receiver, but I don't think it's a pressing need. Aside from that, on the offensive line, maybe we'd be looking the 2nd round for a left tackle in case Johnny Culbreath doesn't work out. coming over to the left side for Michael Roos when he's ready to move on. Maybe we go there. Right end, left end, we're set. Outside linebacker spots, Justin Durant is our oldest linebacker. He's only 28 years old, I think. 28 or 29. Don't have my notes in front of me. So not a whole lot of reason to go there. Middle linebacker, we're already developing a middle linebacker. Corner, I would like to go. Maybe we look at going corner in the second round. As for our safeties, Jamarcus Sanford's getting up there. He's almost 30. And if Chris Connie's not going to be our incumbent, maybe we go free safety. But we'll look at that. I'm thinking maybe free safety, maybe corner, maybe receiver, to work in there along with the center spot and along with the defensive tackle spot. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, as I always say, this is not my series, it's our series. So if you think that there's a pressing need at one spot or another that I haven't mentioned, let me know. Obviously, it always depends on the availability of players. We're not going to draft a stinker at one position just because we desperately need someone in that position. We want to always draft the best players. But with that being said, there's good players at every position. So we just have to find the right guys. Let me know what you think. Do you like the Bacon Benedict pick? Potentially, I shouldn't say pick, the potential Bacon Benedict pick. Do you like the potential drafting of a defensive tackle in the third round? Let me know. Anyways, tomorrow on Friday we will play the Miami Dolphins, another division rival. We're going to be back at home. It'll be our first game at home in a month, given that we played 2 games on the road followed by a bye week. So our first game at home in a month. 4-0 record. It's a beautiful thing. And the Miami Dolphins come in with a 2-3 record. Let's take a look at how the rest of our divisional counterparts did. The Patriots sitting at 2-2. The New York Jets 2-3. The New York Jets were 2-1 coming into our game with them. Had they beaten us, we would have had the same record at 3-1. We took it, and they are now at the bottom of the division with 2-3 records. That's nice to see. It's never too early to start burying your opponents in the standings. Oh, we also got to progress players before we go on to practice. Hold on. Developing players will be a manual thing today because it doesn't come up for the bye week, but we can manually select to develop our players, and that is something I want to do, progress them. Today is our offensive line day to progress players. No, I don't want to quit. I want to go and progress my players. Here we go. So it's offensive line day, and that is a wonderful day. I love offensive line day because it lets us see all our offensive linemen, see how they're doing. We're going to start off with Michael Roos. Michael Roos, there's so few things we can actually upgrade with him because his upgrades are so expensive. We'll give him 1 stamina, and sure, let's go, consistency. Let's make his consistency a perfect 4. There we go. His consistency is as good as it's ever going to get. So Michael Roos, done, just like that. Very easy to develop some of these guys. Bruce Campbell coming up next on the list. His awareness obviously needs work. We're going to get that up to an 80 today, I think. That should leave us with about 4,000 points-ish left, depending on how these upgrades cost down the line. Just a 55 toughness rating for Bruce Campbell. That's pretty pathetic. We'll have to work on that. Awareness now up to an 80. His impact block, and we can get that up to an 80 as well. And we'll leave that at that, I think. Well, let's get his stamina up to 80 as well. Bruce Campbell, his blocking, 85 passing, 85 running. Looking less and less, I think, like somebody who could eventually take over the starting spot at the left tackle position. But certainly a quality backup, let's put it that way. And just 26 years old, got a lot of career in front of him. On to Ben Grubbs, who's got 22,000 points. My goodness. A lot of points to work with for him, which is really nice. His run blocking, let's go ahead, get that up to 90. That's a very expensive upgrade, but one that had to be made. We've developed him for a long time to get that run blocking ability up to that high. He's always had elite pass blocking ability, but his run blocking ability now elite as well. Aside from that, let's go ahead, get his impact blocking up to 86. Up to his consistency, and I like that. So Ben Grubbs getting some good development as well at the left guard spot. Ben Grubbs sitting at the age of 30 in that spot. Has a few good years left. Danny Watkins, his backup. We've worked on Watkins a lot as well with his awareness, getting that up. Watkins, a former first-round bust of the Philadelphia Eagles. But we're keeping him in the stable, developing him, having him ready to step in case of an injury. His pass blocking, his run blocking, both sitting at 86. Not bad. I say we up his consistency to one level, and we leave that at that. So awareness, consistency, just those extra things that go a long way for backup players. Onto the center spot, Eric Wood's got 13,000 points to spend. Eric Wood, we are looking at potentially replacing him in a couple years, depending on whether or not Macon Benedict is available in the draft where we want him, and however long it takes him to come along to be our next franchise center. It would suck to do away with Eric Wood because he is a player who is our only. Now with Jamal Westerman leaving, is the only real life Buffalo Bill on our roster. But with that being said, he's kind of at the peak of his game, and is somebody who isn't aging that far. Centers can play for a long time. Hence Roberto Garza, our backup, still on the field. Not that he's ever really played for us. But all I'm saying is Eric Wood leaving would suck on the one hand. On the other hand, it would help us become a better team, I think, if we were able to find a really elite center and plug them in there. On to Luis Vasquez. Luis Vasquez, we've spent a lot of time upgrading him as well. His consistency is at 0. My goodness, we'll get that up to a 2 today. Luis Vasquez is generally, I think, a consistent player for us. Very rare that we have somebody coming off the right side and destroy us, though that did happen this past practice game, practice episode last week. Luis Vasquez, you can see some really elite numbers here. Pass blocking 97, run blocking 91. Definitely a player who we want to have on this team starting for us for the next 6 years at least. Let's check. He's 27 right now. I think, yeah, he's 27. So 6, 7, 8, 9, who knows? A long time. Brandon Mosley, his backup. Also somebody who's developed nicely for us. We'll keep him moving along. He came back as a free agent this past offseason. We'll get his awareness up to an 80. And then we'll follow that up with some blocking. His pass blocking, run blocking, and impact blocking is all right here for the picking. So get his impact blocking up to an 82. From there, his pass blocking up. No, we can't do that. So we'll have to come back another time, work on his blocking. And then we're on to our right tackles. Right tackle is a very key position for us because we have brought Marcus Gilbert, the starter, along so far. And our backup, Johnny Culbreath, has seen such amazing development as well, coming on originally as a 69 overall player, now sitting at the mid-80s just after 1 year of work. Here we get Marcus Gilbert, his awareness up. We get his impact blocking up, which is huge. And we'll go back to the right tackle position, finish off our player progression with Johnny Culbreath, who is a pass blocker by playing to his strength. Now, both of his blocking numbers are at 85. Just 9,100 points to spend on him. You can see his stamina isn't great. His awareness is pretty darn good, though. We'll get his stamina up to 78 because that's got to be at least in the 80s if he's ever going to be a starter. And aside from that, his blocking numbers very much even, like all at 85. We'll have to keep working those up as time goes on. Like Bruce Campbell, the backup at the left tackle spot, I'm kind of thinking more and more like, especially because he is 26 already, Johnny Culbreath might not be the answer as a franchise tackle at one spot. But with that being said, doesn't mean he can't be an absolute phenomenal backup or a guy who can step in and be a really impactful player for a series of games, barring an injury. So with that being said, let's move on to our practice scenario. Last episode, we saw us take on the Flippity Flops in this third quarter tie scenario and lose on a last-second field goal. Today, we are desperately and vehemently going to battle back against the Flippity Flops, do whatever we possibly can to destroy them emphatically and with great enthusiasm. let's just do it. We're going to start off 2nd and 2 on our own 20-yard line. Both teams will have 3 timeouts available. Last week we traded touchdowns. We were forced to punt on our following possession, and the Flippity Flops were able to drive the field, score a field goal on their final possession. So both teams got 2 possessions. We came away with 7 points. They came away with 10. This week the plan is to score 8 touchdowns consecutively and force the Flippity Flops to turn the ball over every time they hold on to it. We'll see if that game plan plays out that way or not. We're going to start things off here with a slant play. We're going to hit Doug Baldwin coming over the middle, who promptly drops the ball, setting up 3rd and 10. That's a drag. We'll go 4 verticals here, as was suggested by Madden. We're going to play with these routes before just letting them go as they want. Typically, this play works out well for Eric Baldwin running an out, provided he can turn it upfield. And we're going to have Basman Hooker run a wheel route. So Basman Hooker's going to have a chance. He got a lead blocker in Eric Baldwin. He gets caught from behind for just a 7-yard gain. 4th and 3. Screw it. We're going for it. Why? Because I'm not afraid of no flippity flops. Last week we decided not to go for it deep in our own territory on 4th down. It didn't work out. This time we're going to put our faith in Eric Baldwin on this quick out for him to come open. He does come wide open. He's got room up the sidelines. Gets up to midfield for a gain of 22 yards. Beauty, 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 heavy duty. And that goes for a 1st down. We'll get the ball on the ground here. Power O off the right side. No wide receivers on that side, which means that Ryan Williams might be able to break the defense's. Not a strong play there for Ben Grubbs. The pulling left guard came around, had 2 guys to block, and decided to block neither. Which is never a good decision, but that's okay. Still a 4-yard gain, which is fine. That'll bring up a passing down. Jeff Cumberland and Eric Baldwin into the game. We're going to have Jeff Cumberland run a zig route to the outside. Eric Baldwin, meanwhile, we're going to have him run a fade. So up and out to the right side. Roll out to the right. See who comes open. And Jeff Cumberland, baby, wide open in the flat. Gets a nice gain. 15 yards up the sideline. That sets up the Buffalo Bills' 1st down at the 32-yard line of the Flippity Flops. We're going to go inside zone. We ran this play last week with a small degree of success. The middle linebacker of the Flippity Flops decimated Ryan Williams in the hole. Here, however, Ryan Williams gets a better series of blocks. 4-yard gain off the left side. Kind of played that one back to the middle. That play, I like that play. I'd like to become better at running that play, to be perfectly honest. Here, vertical tight end. I love this play, bringing Baldwin back into the field of play. We're also going to have Jackson run a quick out using his speed. Fortunately, he won't have to take that because Eric Baldwin comes open between the zone. Eric Baldwin, 2 catches for 34 yards. Eric Baldwin has been our best receiver on the season so far for us. Great stuff. Very reliable. Exactly why we drafted him. And as much as we don't want to speak ill of former Buffalo Bills who played well for us and did great things, such an upgrade over Heath Miller. There we get an 11-yard reception. Deshaun Jackson getting us down to the 4-yard line. And from here, I think we're just going to do this the old-fashioned way. Just try and run this up the gut. Run behind Luis Vasquez, one of our all-star right guards. And there Ryan Williams gets 2. We're going to do that again. See if we can get another 2. Just as far as I'm concerned, in the red zone, the KISS principle is the best one. Just keep it simple, stupid. Why risk it? You have 4 downs, and there you go. We get down to the goal line. We don't quite get in the end zone, but we have 2 straight carries of 2 yards, and we basically have the ball on the goal line. 3rd straight play, we're calling the same thing. But wouldn't you know, and Ryan Williams gets lit up in the backfield. My goodness. Interesting stuff. So the middle linebacker comes right through the hole and decimates Ryan Williams for about a half-yard loss. We're back to the 1-yard line. 4th down here. I'm going to do the same thing because I fully believe that especially in short yardage like this, it shouldn't matter if the defense knows what you're doing or not. You should be able to get in regardless. And here Ryan Williams does. It takes us 4 cracks after starting off first and goal from the 4. But again, the way I see it, it's keep it simple, stupid. Don't try and run motion. Don't try and throw up the fade route in the corner. Don't try. I mean, if it works for you, then great. Hey, I'm not going to besmirch that, but in the instance that maybe maybe you just want to keep it on the predictable side, but also on the safe side of things, you can go by my way of thinking, which is just keep it simple, put the ball on the ground, score your touchdown. As long as you have a good offensive line, you'll be just fine when it comes to running the ball in. Here the Flippity Flops take it over in shotgun. The quarterback goes over the middle to the tight end. John Bostic misses the tackle. Justin Durant gets him for a gain of 8 yards. Clock running. We get out to a 7-point lead, 21-14. Buffalo Bills over Flippity Flops. But the Flippity Flops were almost unstoppable last episode on offense. Here, we're going to have to do a much better job if we hope to do. And there, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie knocks that ball away. 3rd and 2 coming up for the Flippity Flops. A great play there. Some really good. Last week, I don't think our defense properly defended one pass. This episode starting off a lot nicer for us. Still in shotgun here. We're going to pinch up with Sanford just a little bit as some run support. And sure enough, it's a read option, and the quarterback's going to get around the end. Sharknado Thomas, Justin Durant making the tackle. Not before the quarterback goes for 14 yards off the right side. It's amazing how little the computer players use the read option in this game. And that's actually something that I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit. The truth is, I use the read option a ton when I play online. But as I've talked about, when I play online, I typically play as the Seattle Seahawks. An offense that is based much more around the read option. We do have read option plays in the Buffalo Bills playbook that we use on this series. But actually, Aaron Rodgers has some speed. He's got 80 speed. Could probably run some of them with some success. The issue is players who run the read option, quarterbacks who run the read option a lot, get hurt a lot. And we don't want, if we're playing a series, if we're playing one game online, then yeah, by all means, risk the quarterback getting hurt because it's just one game. But we don't want to risk Aaron Rodgers being out for 8 games or 12 games or an entire season if he were to get hurt in our series. And so we don't do that a lot. But one thought I have had recently would be, what happens if we were able to pick up a quarterback and boom! A nice sack there. Thaddeus Gibson getting in there, getting his nose dirty. 7-yard loss for the Flippity Flops. As soon as we can, we're going to grab that as our thumbnail for this week. Thaddeus Gibson getting in there, eating some lunch. Bada bing, bada boom. Nice play there. We're going to get in just like... Oh, no, that's too far. Right there. Perfect. Gibson taking on the Flippity Flops QB, eating his lunch. 2nd and 17 coming up. But as I was saying, it would be interesting to pick up another quarterback, one who is kind of in the Ryan Mallett, Tim Tebow, and I hesitate to say Tim Tebow because, well, he's such a punchline at this point. But someone who's in that of that physical nature, who's a bigger body but still has some speed, has some real carrying ability, and seeing if from time to time, the same way that we throw in Darren Sproles when we run a screen pass or a wheel route with our running back, kind of having almost a read option quarterback, like a backup. And there's another sack. Thaddeus Gibson gets his 2nd sack in 3 plays. The Flippity Flops will have to punt here on 4th and 23. We'll see if they can get it off before the 2-minute warning. It's in their best interest to do so, but they don't. 2-minute warning comes up. Flippity Flops will be punting after this. And all we'll have to do is run out this game. Get one first down. The Flippity Flops should use all their timeouts, and then we're good to go. Let's hope that it works out just that smoothly. Here, Jarrell Freeman, we're going to bring him back to be one extra blocker. Unfortunately, though, Gino Castro is not going to get an opportunity to run this one back. That punt goes out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Buffalo Bills take over there, and we're just going to, again, as I said, try and run this game out pretty simply. So let me know what you guys think about potentially picking up a read option quarterback, because again, I do run it a lot online. I run it with some success, and it's a wrinkle that I've always liked, or like the idea of adding to this series, the offense of this series, that is, but just we've never really had the person to do it. So an interesting thought. Anyways, back to the game. Ryan Williams on 2nd and 6 gets some nice yardage off the left side, setting up 3rd and 2. 3rd and 2. I think what we're going to do at this point, we're going to bring in Basman Hooker a little bit speedier, and we're going to run the stretch, see if he can get around this flippity-flops defense. They're set up really wide here, but with his speed, I'm thinking that Hooker can get around. We'll see. The cornerback is way off the line of scrimmage, which I really like. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. Flippity-flops, and they do get out there. Our blockers let us down. Flippity-flops used their last timeout, so fortunately the flippity-flops, no more timeouts. The clock will not stop for them unless they're able to get out of bounds on this next drive. The bad side of it, though, we have to punt from deep in our own territory on 4th and 4. Jarrell Freeman making a nice play. Chris Connie in there as well. That looks to be John Kuhn there making the tackle. So 68 yards is how far the flippity-flops will have to travel. They're going to have 1 minute and 34 seconds to do so, and they're going to have to do it without calling a single timeout. We'll see if they have it. We'll see if our defensive line continues to step up. Here they're going to hit one wide receiver, and he's going up the sidelines. Dominic Rogers-Cromartie can't make the tackle, and they're going to score. One play. A quick corner route to number 82 in coverage. Dominic Rogers-Cromartie misses him. Don't know how Dominic Rogers-Cromartie is not able to catch up to that receiver. Mr. 98 speed, Dominic Rogers-Cromartie gets beaten up the sidelines. And this game, just like that, is tied. Gino Castro is going to get called for offsides. That I'm sure will be declined. The kickoff will be coming up here. So the flippity-flops, the absolute banes of our existence, will go on defense here. Buffalo Bills getting the ball back. Basman Hooker doesn't get anything set up in front of him. Gets to the 21-yard line on that kick return. 1:21 left in the practice scenario. We have all 3 of our timeouts, so we can afford to play this at our own rate, however we want. We can run it on the ground. We can put it through the air. We can do basically anything. We just need a field goal. We don't need to do anything crazy here. Ryan Williams is going to get hit on the screen pass. He's got a man in front of him. He gets a nice set of yardage up the sideline. Will stay in bounds to keep the clock going, which I like. No need to keep a bunch of time on the clock. We're going to go trips bunch on the right side here. Eric Baldwin, we're going to have him run a quick out. I like this play because Eric Baldwin's going to get it, but we also, and Eric Baldwin's got room up the sideline. We will step out with him up to the 35-yard line. At this point, we're looking at a 52-yard Greg the Leg kick. But as I was going to say, what I liked about that last play is we have Deshaun Jackson just sit down on a little curl route, and Eric Baldwin run the out route beside him. Presumably on that play, one of those two guys is going to come open pretty much any time, which is great. On that play, Basman Hooker just gets 2 yards off the right side. We're going to give the ball back to basically, I think, called the same play. Let Ryan Williams have a shot at this one. It will be a 50-yarder for Greg the Leg at this point. We're going to keep the clock running, just chewing up some yardage. And Ryan Williams gets wrapped up for a no gain. 3rd and 8 coming up. We will use a timeout here to stop the clock at 21 seconds. At the 33-yard line, it'd be really nice if we could get some extra yardage on the ground. We're going to go off tackle on this play, I think. Again, I trust Greg the Leg from 50 yards out. It would be nice to not have to kick it from 50 yards out, though. Hopefully we get some positive yardage on this play. Ryan Williams bounces it outside. Sorry, it's Basman Hooker. He makes a couple nice moves, stays on his feet, gets down to the 15-yard line. And, folks, that will virtually guarantee us a field goal on this one. We're just going to let the clock run down to 2 seconds. Here we go. We got 3, 2. The ball is back. It is up, and it is good. Greg the Leg kicks it through. With zeros on the clock, the Buffalo Bills get their revenge. They go 1-2 on their bye week. 1-4-2 on their bye week against the Flippity Flops. One failure, but one success, getting their revenge. We're 3 for 4 in our last 4 practice scenarios, getting those points to progress our players. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow on Friday for episode number 70, where we take on our division rival Miami Dolphins. Colin Kaepernick and company coming into town. We'll see you then. I'm Tuxedo T-shirt, and I'm out.